So today I'm going to show you how to make sourdough bread, or certainly the way I make sourdough bread. There's hundreds of different ways of doing it, but I found this is the best way for me. So let's go through quickly what you need. You'll need 500 grams of bread flour, white bread flour. You'll need 190 grams or 190 mils of tepid warm water, 10 grams of fine salt, preferably sea salt if you can, and 20 grams of olive oil. And don't forget your starter, the most important bit, 250 grams. I've got a bit of olive oil on the side to use later, and some kitchen roll and some cling film, so just have those handy. Okay, so this is nice and easy. There's no difficult way of doing this. You're literally just throwing all the ingredients into the bowl to start with. So if you put your water in first, just throw it in, add your oil, just drop it in there, put your salt in, throw it in there, and then finally your starter, which will be nice and bubbly, and that's what's going to make the bread rise and make it all nice and tasty. So just pop that in there, like that. So you've got a lovely mix that you now need to just gently fold in with your spatula. And what you're looking for here is just to get the flour mixed in, and so you don't see any water. So you're just going to fold it in and make sure as you're folding it you're not really seeing any liquid. So it's going to feel a bit strange, but you're going to get to that consistency. So there's no water there, can't see it. So now, the key is here is clean off your spatula, like that. You're going to get your hands mucky now, but this is the fun bit. And you're just going to empty it out onto the unit. Now it looks like it's going to be difficult to work with, but it's not. And what I would do is clean your bowl while you're doing this now, because you're going to use this bowl later when you come to prove the dough. So make it nice and clean, and just make it easier when you come to a finish with the kneading. Okay, so there we go. Bowl over there, quick clean of the spatula. Right, this is where you get your hands in. Now, you ready? So gently, all you want to be doing is just bringing it from the outsides, pushing it in. It'll feel like nothing's happening, but as you start to watch it, it will start to come together. It looks a bit messy, but you can see it already starting to come together. So all I'm doing is I'm turning it round, folding it in, turning it round, doing a little bit of kneading, but not rough at the moment, because all I want to do is just get all the ingredients mixed in. And this will all start to come together. Get it off my fingers. Just fold it again, still doing it quite gently at the moment as you start to build up the dough ball. You can see now it's starting to build up, and just use it as a bit of a cloth. Just get it all in, and then carry on. Fold it in, turn it, fold it in, turn it, fold it in, upside down if you want. Again, pick up any bits and then fold it in. Now you've got the start of your dough, and just take a minute just to get the texture of the dough, because kneading now, there's no art form to this. It's, you can be as rough or as gentle as you like, but you can't over knead, but you're going to be needing to knead this for about 5 or 6 minutes. So get a feel for the dough. At the moment it'll look lumpy, it'll feel a bit sticky, but what you're going to do now is as you knead it, it's going to get more and more elastic, and it's going to look a bit more like Play-Doh. So all you're going to be doing is pulling it in, down, pull it in, down, pull it in, down, and you're going to be doing this for about 5 minutes. Now as you get more elastic, you'll start to use these parts of your hands. So you're going to start to pull it in and push it down, turn it, push, turn, push. And you're going to start putting a bit more effort into it, because what you really want to do is get that gluten in the flour working, and that will turn it into a beautiful Play-Doh type dough. Okay, so all you're doing is folding it in, turning it round, and pushing it out with it. And you're doing it quite hard, so you know, if you've had a bad day at the office and you really want to vent some frustration on somebody, you can pretend this is them. So, about 5 minutes. Now, what you'll feel is already you'll start to see the dough get a bit smoother, and it will start to turn more elasticy. Now, you can do this in a mixer. If you've got a mixer with a bread hook, you can do it in there. I've tried it to start with, but never quite found that I got the right consistency for the dough for me. And I went back to the traditional method. And in fairness, I enjoy this a bit more because it's a bit more like, feels like I'm making it right from scratch. So this is all I'm doing. Turning it, folding it, turning it, folding it. And it's starting to go a bit more elastic. And you want to do this, as I say, for about 5 minutes. You can see now the unit's clean. Don't need to do any dusting. I did clean the unit before I did this, by the way. I work up a bit of a sweat. And that's it. It's as simple as that. It might take a little while just to get used to the rhythm, but you are literally just bringing it in and stretching it. And trying with your hands, try and stretch it. That's why you need to put a bit of effort into it, for me. And again, all the professionals probably don't put this much effort into it, probably. But as I say, there's a million ways to do this. Turn it on its head if you want, and do it the other way around. Really doesn't matter, as long as you're giving it plenty of stretch. And then a few little twists if you want. You'll find your own technique, what you're more comfortable with. Sometimes I'll just pull it over with my hand and push it, just to give my arms a rest. Push it like that. And you'll get the smells of the sourdough starter and the flour and the water. And you can now start to see it's getting smoother, which is what we want. It wants to feel, it's not sticky. There's no flour on my hands, a little bit when I first started, but there's no flour on my hands. And the dough is now starting to feel a bit more like it should do. Take time for you to get used to this. A few times after you've done it, but you'll get a feel for when it's ready. And that's why I prefer this method over putting it in the mixer, because all you can do is watch it in the mixer. Whereas when you're doing it like this, you can feel the dough, you can feel when it's ready. And it's starting to feel like we're getting there now. I don't think it'll need much longer, to be honest, because it's feeling nice. And see how smooth it is now? And that's the texture you're looking for. Fold, push, fold, push. Remember, you can't over knead, so keep going as long as you like, till you've vented all your frustrations, or you're out of breath, like I am. There we go. And that's feeling really good. Use the unit, let the unit or the work surface help you, because it will provide some resistance for you as well. That's something you'll need to use a little bit later on. So now I think that is looking good. So all I'll do is just turn it over my fingers, push it in my hand like that. I'm just trying to get a bit of a ball. That's all. Okay. Now that's ready. Okay. So try and get it so that it's relatively, you've got it flat on that side. Try and get it a bit flat on that side if you can. That's where that sort of roll comes in. But what you're going to do now is just going to use the unit now just to tighten the dough a little bit. And all that is you're going to put your hands around it like this and just pull the dough. Now you'll feel the unit, you'll see it there, you'll feel the unit giving you some resistance. That's what you want. You're just pulling it in, and what you're doing is you're bringing the ball tighter together. That's all you're doing, just tightening the dough. You don't have to do it too many times, but you'll feel it. It won't slide, and this is why you don't flour it. So you've got a lovely ball of dough there. Slap it down a little bit, and this is where your olive oil comes in here. So what you need to do is just a little bit of olive oil in the bottom. This is only really to stop it sticking. I like to just put some olive oil in. It just makes it easy to get the dough out, because you're now going to put it away to prove. So you just pop that in there, like that. And then we're going to put some cling film over the top, because you've got to keep it from drying out. So some people will use maybe a damp towel. Some people use cling film. Just make sure that it's airtight so that the dough doesn't dry out. And there we go. That's what it's going to look like. Now, you're going to put this on one side for about 3 hours. And the reason for that is the sourdough starter needs to activate with the flour and rise the dough. So ideally, if it works properly, and you can put it at room temperature, it doesn't need to be anywhere really warm. Some people have got proving ovens, they can put them in there, but I've always found as long as it's in a warm kitchen, a bit like today, or if it's winter when you're making it, put it in the airing cupboard or something like that. As long as the temperature stays consistent, you're okay. So leave it for 3 hours. We'll come back to it in 3 hours. Hopefully it will have grown to twice that size, and then we'll move on to part 2.